Have I got a pretty fantastic game for you guys. So, I'm back playing against Slow Motion here, and my opponent, Slow Motion, is playing, let's see, Karona False God. So, 5 color, typically janky because it's one of the worst 5 colors, arguably. Um, 5 color combo, I would expect to be a Tazri or a Sliver Queen at this point. If it's Slivers, it would be Hive Lord or Legion. Um, Good stuff is generally the Horde of Notions, and um, Child of Lar is sometimes either a Lands Matter style deck or a Planeswalker Super Friends style deck. But Corona just doesn't rank on the list of commanders that are worthwhile. And I mean, you get access to your commander every game. Why would you play a card in there in that zone that you never intend to use? I have a pretty sweet hand. I have turn 1 Birds of Paradise, turn 2 Thrasios, playing the Simic Growth Chamber for turn 3 Rashmi or turn 3 Thrasios activation. So, definitely a keep, and against an unknown opponent, which, I mean, Corona can literally be anything, just a bad version of whatever it is. So, I could see Corona be some janky tribal. Uh, she used to be the Allies commander, but now that Tazri's been printed, there's no real reason that people run Corona anymore, because Tazri is just strictly better. So Command Tower and Hex Parasite. Alright, well, that tells me that it's not tribal. This feels more like a Super Friends or combo at this point, because Hex Parasite is pressure on opponent's Planeswalkers, but it's also a combo with Decree of Silence, which gets counters. It counters 3 spells. Every time it counters a spell, it's enchantment. It gets a counter on it, and then when it has 3 or more, or when it gets its 3rd counter, it gets sacrificed. Hex Parasite lets you pay 1 mana and a life and 2 life to remove one of those counters, or 2 mana and 2 life, to remove 2 of those counters, to keep the Decree of Silence going, so your opponents never get to cast spells, as long as you can keep a black 1 or black 2 open per turn. Hex Parasite keeps you from ever letting your opponent's spells resolve. Having to let your opponent's spells resolve. I'm definitely going to run out the bird here. My opponent just goes with pass. And I think for a sec, I think this is mana drain. And I'm not sure about it. It feels like it because of the basic island. But I got to run this Thrasios out. And my hope is that my opponent doesn't realize how good Thrasios really is, and they let him go. It blocks the Hex Parasite, so it stops that clock, and it just lets me start accruing advantage if I need to play this counter draw game. So I'm going to play the Simic Growth Chamber, bounce my Forest. They don't have the Strip Mine, thankfully, and I make a blunder here. I felt like there was a misdrain mana drain the turn before, and I just run Rashmi right into it. Man, that hurts. Alright. Alright, I'm down. They're going to have 4, 7. I have 4. So I'm down 3 mana on this cycle. 4 mana on this cycle. Oblivion Star. Well, what a good thing to feed mana drain into. Basically, gain back some of that mana that that was only temporary. I'll pop up my exile for a sec. Forest, Island, Forest, and Thought Vessel. So Thought Vessel is useless for me. I didn't need it. And honestly, I'm glad to get those lands off the top of my deck at this point. So they get 3 off of it, though, and they have a 5/8 in play that I'm not blocking anytime soon. So you got it, opponent. I'm going to play the Coast, just represent blue-blue if I have tapped the Growth Chamber. I consider using the bird the Growth Chamber to Sakura here, but right now my plan is Mystic Confluence to bounce the Oblivion Sower. I need 6 mana to do it. So Mystic Confluence, bounce the Oblivion Sower, and Mystical Tutor in the same turn to go get the Amnesia, and then Amnesia the Oblivion Sower out of their hand, plus the rest of their hand. So that's my plan right now, and we'll see how it goes. Good luck, have fun over there. Alright. Crash in for 5. I've accepted that I'm taking 5 a turn for the foreseeable future. And I make a mistake. I tap mana, getting ready to use Thrasios, or getting ready to do that, realize I have the line of bounce into Amnesia, but I forget to use Thrasios, and it would have gotten me a free land into play. So a little bit of a blunder, but from that on, I made sure I never forget to use Thrasios because I didn't want my game to be a misplay of one of my new favorite cards in this deck after this game. Activate Thrasios, keep blue open, get Cephalic Coliseum into play. And I'm just going to take all the lands I can get right now. They out-ramped me by 3. I ramped by 1 because of birds, so they were 2 ahead of me. So now they're 1 ahead of me because of Thrasios. Sakura Chibelder, he'll put me even. He'll also chump Oblivion Sower, the old chump sack, the Steve trick, for 1 turn, so that'll save me 5 life. So block, sack, get an island, because I don't have that basic yet. And get some more Thrasios action going. I see Memory Lapse. I decided to keep the Memory Lapse just because I need Counter Magic to back up this line. And honestly, I don't need to go for it right when I hit 6. They've done nothing. They're not tapping out mana. They could have played Karona. I have no idea what their plan is right now, but the fact that they're not pushing at all seems really strange to me because they're just letting me get value off of value off of value off Thrasios. And I don't think they realize how good this is when I don't have to spend my mana on anything else. They're not forcing me to do anything. They're beating me for 5. I can take 5 for quite a few turns without caring. Get a Peregrine Drake. So I'm going to play an island. I think for a sec I'm going to clear my main step, just in case. Fake that mana drain in my hand. And I'm going to run out the Peregrine Drake. I'm going to tap 5, over tap because of the Simic Growth Chamber, just in case I need to, like, Memory Lapse. I only have to tap the coast then, because I'll leave a blue floating, and then I'll untap 5 lands. And I can get some tempo play off the Memory Lapse and the Peregrine Drake mostly, because this is just here. I'm going to play it as a chump blocker. Get some lands. They give it a thought before letting it resolve, but they just let it go. I don't need that mana. I decide not to block here. I want to see if I get anything good. Thrasios, get a Preordain. I'm going to bottom that and pick up the Mana Drain that I was fading last turn. And I get a second Thrasios activation, so we're really starting to get into it. Get a Blighted Woodland. Fantastic. Even more ramp. So now I'm 1 mana ahead of them if my counts are correct. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'll go to 12 on my turn. To their 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm 2 ahead of them at this point. Even though they mana drained me into an Oblivion Sower, I'm 2 mana ahead. Just because of this nice guy right here. And I've drawn 3 cards off of him so far. He got me 2 lands and the Memory Lapse. So I want to keep track of how many times he gets me value this game. And, spoiler, he stays on the board the entire game. I play him turn 2, and he never leaves play. So I'm going to trump here. I just don't want to take the 5. So I've gained 10 life off my dude so far. For the effective cost of 1 mana that I've spent, I've gained 10 life. Because Peregrine Drake untapped me land, Sakura fetched me another land. So, let's get some Thrasios going. I realize I have enough to activate Thrasios 3 times this turn. Or activate him, I think, once, and activate the Blighted Woodland, and I think I decide with the Woodland play just to get more blue mana in play. My hand is stacked with blue spells right now, I just need to get more mana. I got a Tree of Tales, alright, so that's pretty fantastic. So that's 4 times. And I give some thought, and decide to crack the Woodland, get Island, and I'm going to go for it here. So I'm going to Mystical Tutor. Let me clear out this, Cephalic Coliseum. They know about Memory Lapse and Mana Drain so far. So here's the deck list right now. I didn't want to skip through it. New addition was Venser, particularly. I cut some of the worst lands. I upped the basic count a little bit more on both sides. I have both Kioras in here now. A little bit more of a Super Friends build. I'm enjoying it so far. I like the Kioras. They're not great, but they're fun. But I'm definitely going to snag that Amnesia. And I realize I have Mystic Confluence on my turn, or I'm just going to pick up the Amnesia now, so I don't have to worry about it coming down the pipeline, so to speak. I really want them to cast some big spell that I can Confluence, though, because they don't know about this spell. And if they cast something like an Eldrazi, say Kozilek, they can draw the 4, I'll counter Kozilek, it'll go to their graveyard, shuffle graveyard in, bounce the Oblivion Sower, untap Amnesia their hand away. And they're fine to cast old Kozilek. I'd rather not them not have new Kozilek. Although, he wouldn't resolve anyway, so. So I'm gonna check my mana and go for the Amnesia here. I think I might have been rushing this. I got a little, oh, I know why. Because I have double counterspell backup. And this is a sorcery, so I have to do it now. Also, if they counter with something big, I can Confluence, counter, bounce the Oblivion Sower. And then it'll go back to their hand before... So my protection will increase their hand count, and it'll get discarded. So they tap some mana for Cryptic Command. And their modes are counter draw. So I'm going to attempt... So I see they have exactly 6 open. So my plan here is to Mystic Confluence the Cryptic Command. Counter, bounce. They have the mana to pay for the counter, though. But I'm mostly playing it just to bounce the Oblivion Sower. If they let Confluence resolve and Oblivion Sower gets bounced, I'm going to lapse or drain the Confluence, so that way I can keep the Amnesia, make sure the Amnesia still resolves. And honestly, if it wasn't countering my Amnesia, they could draw the card for all I care. I'm going to discard it. That is my entire goal right now, making sure this Amnesia resolves. So I missed a Confluence, counter, draw, bounce, and they packed the Confluence, and this was a mistake in my opinion. So they're packing the Confluence to keep me from, I guess, countering the Cryptic Command, when they should have just packed the Amnesia. Because it necessitates me to not only still counter Pact, but also counter Cryptic Command if I want Amnesia to resolve. Because Cryptic Command still isn't being countered. They can still pay 6 for the Confluence, and I don't think they realized that. I don't know if they were acting like this was a hard counter or something. So I'm okay with letting them tap out on their next upkeep. So I'm going to let the Confluence go, give up on the Oblivion Sower plan, and I'm going to lapse the Cryptic Command and put that back on top of their library. So that way, if they have all non-lands in their hand, I know what they're drawing for turn is Cryptic Command, and they have to tap 5 on the turn, 2 of which is blue, which puts them underneath Cryptic Command mana. So I know on my next turn I'll have essentially completely free reign. So I'm going to put that back on top. They packed my Confluence, and Amnesia resolves. And look at that hand. Memoricide. Not sure why they're playing it. It seemed that they were playing this exile your opponent's deck style of build. Sadistic Sacrament, another one I'm talking about. 15 cards. They had the mana, but they weren't going to run it through my counterspells. And Yogwill. Well, I'm glad to get that value out of there. Remember, they still know about my mana drain, but they don't know about anything else. I'm just going to ship it back. They have to pay for Pact. They won't draw a blue source for their Cryptic, so next turn I have free reign. They get him for 5. Alright, that was what they get to do. I pick up Frantic Search. I clear my combat step. Tap some mana, and I don't know why I tapped birds here. I was planning to jump with birds, and I tapped it without thinking. I'm going to run Rashmi out, because I can get the value immediately on their turn. And they pick up a Strip Mine, which they don't throw on this Growth Chamber right away, which seems a little strange to me, but to each their own. So I get domed for another 5. I'm going to think twice, hit a Rampant Growth, goes to my hand, and I pick up Cyclonic Rift, which they don't know about also. Like, could you make that any better? Damn. I get back to play Brainstorm, and I make a little bit of a blunder here. I played Brainstorm before I activated Thrasios, thinking, oh, well, I'll just be able to Rashmi into whatever set card I put back second, so I could put back something like Frantic Search or Rampant Growth. If I put back Rampant Growth on my turn, I'll draw one of the cards, and then Frantic Search, reveal the Rampant Growth, get another land, and then basically play for free the Frantic Search. But I make a little bit of a blunder because I am activating Thrasios. Not to be concerned about, though. Activate him. I think that was 4th or 5th. I realized it before I put the cards back, so I made sure I stuck the island on top just so I could get some free ramp out of it. Pick up the top. And I'm going to run Tamio out. I know he's got the Hex Parasite, but Tamio is telling me to gain 5 life by freezing the Oblivion Sower. They try to Cryptic Command, bouncing the Rashmi. I am ready with the Mana Drain in my main one, like a Dunderhead, because I've been clearing my combat step every single turn, faking the Mana Drain, and maybe I next leveled him without realizing it by demonstrating that, oh no, I totally don't have it now. Oh no, he knows about the drain also, doesn't he? Yeah, so they know about the drain. Get a 3 visits off the Tamio. I'm going to search for the breeding pool, shock myself. I don't have any damage source in play with the exception of Cephalid Coliseum, which I don't think I've actually had to tap once yet. So I'm just going to get the breeding pool, get a little bit more untapped mana into play. Freeze the Oblivion Sower. I know they're going to kill Tamio with the Hex Parasite. I'm okay with that. I've accepted it. Tamio told me to gain 5 life and make him spend his mana. Get the Sensei's Top into play for the value. I have no counterspell. Alright, Mana Drain. I'm just going to feed that right into Thrasios. And I hit a Strip Mine. So 6 or... I think I'm at 6 right now for Thrasios, if my count's correct. Hex Parasite kills Tamio. And Nightmare Incursion targeting me. Search my library for up to X cards or X number of swamps he controls. Exile them, and then shuffle. So definitely playing Exile your opponent's deck. Deck. Morricide, Sadistic Sacrament. In game 2, he played Extract, which is the single blue, search for 1 card and exile it. Spoiler, I'm not actually going to put up game 2. He goes turn 1, Extract my Amnesia, because it lost in the game. And then turn 3, the Nightmare Horror that Fiend Hunters a card out of your opponent's hand, and then he scoops. So Nightmare Incursion, and I think about it for a sec. I'm gonna top, make sure I don't see anything that I definitely want, because I can top draw into it and let him take the top. So I see Jace, Sylvan Library, Regrowth. Well, Sylvan Library is bad. I'm not at the life to use it, so that's definitely gonna go at the bottom and get shuffled away, thanks to slow motion here. So I see Jace Regrowth, and I know I have a Think Twice in the yard here. So my plan is I'm going to put back Jace underneath the Regrowth, cast the Think Twice, or a top draw, cast the Think Twice, reveal the top again, so he doesn't know about Regrowth either. And it's the same interaction that I talked about before. That if you know you're not going to be able to cast the card, but you have top, flip the top on to the deck if you're going to be able to cast that off of whatever you're using to trigger Rashmi. So that way they only see top, they don't see this. So now the Regrowth is hidden information to my opponent. And I'm going to pick up that Jace, which I plan on using to win the game at this point. And he gets Nightmare Incursion me to shuffle away that Sylvan Library. And I think for a sec, I could activate top on end step, or I could activate Thrasios. I decided to go for the better value, more mana efficiency, activate Thrasios for the 1 life. I don't think damage is going to actually be relevant in this game. And I get Vidalcan Shackles to my hand. My god, that is a good spell. So I'm going to strip the coffers, just because it produces so much mana if I'm not careful. If he just untaps, plays Urborg into some tutor, and I don't have a counterspell, I'm in trouble. So I'm just going to get rid of it right away. And I get a Fabricate off the Shackles. But Shackles is now my answer to the Hex Parasite killing my Planeswalkers. Or the Oblivion Sower. My plan right now is to potentially Shackles the Hex Parasite and block the Oblivion Sower. Or keep up Cyclonic Rift and Regrowth the Amnesia. So Psych Rift, End Step, Regrowth, Amnesia, rip his hand apart again. With Venser protection. Noted. And of course, he plays Volash Stronghold, so that plan goes out the window because I'd be amnesiaing 2 creatures into the graveyard, which he can just Stronghold back into his hand. Or onto the top of his library, I suppose. So, I'm going to Psych Rift anyway, mostly because I want to get the tempo play. He didn't go into the red zone with Zoer, which strikes me as a little odd, I guess, to keep his Hex Parasite from dying, but still a little strange. I hit a Ponder, always satisfying. I find Kiora and Talaria West. I'll take Karona, activate Thrasios, reveal the Talaria West to get another land into play. Pick up Spell Pierce, that was the last card I saw. Regrowth, and I give some thought here, and you might have saw a flash. I'm going to pick up the Mana Drain again. I know he's got a 6-mana spell. I know he's got the Hex Parasite. Right now my plan is counter the Hex Parasite and let the Oblivion Sower resolve because I can just Shackles the Oblivion Sower. It also gives me a better clock against him at this point. And if he's going to spend every one of his turns Vol Stronghold trying to get Hex Parasite back in play to kill my Jace, that is the world that I'm okay living in. Because I'm going to have 2 Planeswalkers going within the course of a single turn. So I slam Karona, untap Bird, and send a Growth Chamber. She only costs me 1 mana because I have this double land here. And I'm going to Rampant Growth, and do I slam Jace this turn? I do. Pick up put down Jace, see Merciless Execution, decide he's allowed to have that because I have this Shackles. Even though the Vala Stronghold exists. Get in for some damage. I know, first time I got in. Strip Mine on my command tower. Well, I'll respond to that. Float the blue. And tap some more. Frantic Search. I'm going to untap 3 blue sources just because he wanted to do that to me. Pick up Mazavith and Forest. Don't need either of them. Riptide Laboratory is amazing with Venser, though. I hear that wins games. So I'm going to keep that land and let the other 2 go. Untap some blue sources. Hex Parasite. Sorry, I picked up a Preordain off of my previous Rashmi trigger on my turn, which got me a Dismiss. Sorry about that. So I'm going to dismiss the Hex Parasite because it's the worst mana drain target. Here comes the Merciless Execution. That can resolve. In response to the trigger, I have effects. How about I just Shackles that and sack the Executioner to its own ability? Thank you very much. Here comes the Oblivion Sower. I drain the Sower, and he scoops the game. I know this was a bit of a longer one, 14 turns, really late, but I mean, I am playing the control deck. Thrasios got me, what, 6 or 7 cards over the course of that game, at least, for the turn 2 play that he might have had counter mana drain open to, but I think he was trying to drain into Sower. And if he did drain into Sower, he would have had only 5 mana on his turn. So, very fun match. I love this type of grindy control match. Finding out an answer to the problem of Oblivion Sower. I did check the cards he was going to get. It was going to be like a Mana Vault land, Mana Leak. Cards that I'm happy to have off the top of my deck. There's no way I would play Mana Vault with 10 life. I don't need it in any way. At this point, I was just going to fabricate into Gilded Lotus and use Gilded Lotus plus Thrasios along with Karona to start creating as much mana as possible, Venser Riptide combo, and just try to keep it going as long as possible while damage getting in, while Jace is taking up and Karona is taking up. I would probably put her to 9 before I went for the emblem and started making my octopus, which is the correct plural, octopuses, actually. And Jace, I was just going to keep ticking up and make sure they don't draw anything. Honestly, I don't need the Jace ult in this game. The octopuses will do it. And if they want to Vala Stronghold something like Oblivion Sower back on top of their deck, or the only one that I would try to counter is probably the 1/1, the Hex Parasite. Although I might sandbag Venser, respond to it by bouncing whichever Planeswalker the Karona player targeted. I hope you guys enjoyed the game and got to see Rashmi in full control action. I mean, I'm beating down with a 1/1, a 1/3, and a 2/3, and that wins the game, guys. This is a true control matchup against a deck that I'm not quite sure what it was trying to do, but it felt like it was exile target opponent's deck and all of their strategies. I hope to see you all in the next one. If I made any misplays besides the Thrasios, missed activation, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel for more updates and more videos. If you want to see more Rashmi, let me know. And share the video to anyone you think might enjoy it. I'm trying to grow the channel a little bit. I'll see you all in the next one.